For a while now, EA has been considered the worst gaming company on the planet, but Ubisoft is pretty much like, hold my beer, we can do worse. Long dead are the days of Ubisoft making innovative games like Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed during those times. From turning those games into crown jewels to turning them into complete garbage that nobody wants to play. Ubisoft even had the crown jewel of Star Wars, which everybody wants because Star Wars is pretty much a layup when it comes to video games. And they tried to make a good Star Wars game, but when it came out, it was a half baked, half made game. And I'm not exaggerating in saying that it was a half made game. You would literally fall into the world if you did something wrong and glitched into the world. There was mechanics missing, like the stealth mechanics that really weren't there at all. And of course, Ubisoft is blaming everybody but themselves of why the game sold poorly. From blaming that the Star Wars RP isn't really as big as it used to be, which I kind of agree on, but it's still kind of a layup to have a Star Wars game, and at that, an open world Star Wars game where you can travel to multiple planets. Is just the fact they really didn't try that hard or give it enough time to be finished. And also, of course, blaming trends and streamers who didn't really give it a shot. And of course, this is typical Ubisoft 101 in recognizing that the problems are within themselves of leadership and not necessarily in the talented developers that they have or the people buying their games. It is them. It is a leadership issue. This is very much like Bungie, where the talented developers are there, but the fact that they have incompetent, shitty, bad CEOs is the reason why this game doesn't do good. It's very much a similar situation like Destiny and Bungie, where the talented developers are there. The talented people that make games are there in Ubisoft. It's just that their leadership is complete garbage and complete crap that needs to be ousted. But unfortunately, I think this leadership will burn Ubisoft down to the ground. And it starts with Tencent essentially buying a portion of them because nobody is buying Ubisoft games and they blame it on everybody but themselves. And you would think the mistakes would stop there with Ubisoft, but unfortunately they don't. With this portion of Ubisoft being bought, the CEO of Ubisoft thought it would be a good idea to name his son as the CEO of the subsidiary that Tencent is owning, which is the most conflict of interest thing that you could ever do and is probably not going to make shareholders happy because of the fact that, again, it's a giant conflict of interest putting your son in that position, which essentially means that Ubisoft has no intention of seeking other people managing their company and keeping it family oriented, which has ran this company into the ground. And the mistakes keep piling on, from telling people that they don't own their games and they should get used to it, and to also telling people that microtransactions in single player games is fun and it incentivizes the player to play even more. Ubisoft literally has a clause in their games that say if a game is no longer in the Ubisoft store, that you should immediately delete it off your PC or gaming console and break the disc. That is literally in their term of service, and it is why I will not feel bad at all for Ubisoft when it comes to their downfall, and they will downfall. And make no mistake, if Ubisoft keeps into this trend, they will have a downfall and eventually come begging back for people to buy their games. But people will only buy their games if they actually make games that people want. I think this has to be a message for the rest of the companies on the planet right now that are planning to make games or planning to make money with games. The way you make money from games is not from microtransactions, is not from gas games. And don't get me wrong, games as a service games or online games, yes, they can be very lucrative. And yes, they make you a lot of money. Yes, Fortnite makes a crap ton of money and everybody wants that. The key to making money is making a game that people want, a game that is good, letting your developers experiment, letting your developers make something that they're passionate about. And Ubisoft, I've been saying this for the longest time about every gaming company on the planet. If you want to make money, Ubisoft, let your developers cook. Let them do something that they want to do. Not every game has to make Fortnite money. Not every game has to make you multi-billion-dollar money. I feel like a broken record in saying this, but a lot of these companies have gotten extremely greedy when it comes to making profit on their video games because of the fact that I've iterated this so many times that games make more money than any entertainment platform on the planet. They make more money than movies, they make more money than music, they make more money than anything else, than TV, than pay-per-views. Their returns on their investments is insane. And the fact that they think that they need to make even more money is the most insane thing on the planet. While yes, some of these games cost $200 million to make, on top of that, to advertise it, it's probably close to 250 to $300 million for some of these top AAA games. And on top of that, it takes a lot of time to make these games, especially if you want all the ray tracing, all the path tracing, which, by the way, is the most unnecessary thing in the world. It's something that I argue with people all the time, that ray tracing is an expensive fad that is constantly bloating our games to be something that we don't need them to be, that they don't need to be there in order to make a good game. While there is some glimmers of hope with the Metroidvania Prince of Persia game that is pretty much a reboot of Prince of Persia, there's too many glaring issues with Ubisoft to say that there is going to be hope for the future. Watch Dogs was a promising game that they had showed at E3 that failed to even remotely come close to what the game actually looked like in the trailer. And while the sequel had a glimmer of hope, the third one really wasn't that good, and again was a half-made game. The reason why Ubisoft did so well in the past with Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, and all these other games that they made in the past is because these were games that the company internally wanted to make and took chances in order to make a franchise that would sell millions and bring them billions that made Ubisoft what it is today. And it's sad to see such an iconic studio as Ubisoft be in the state that it is. Ubisoft has been here since pretty much the beginning of gaming and has inspired millions to go on to become developers themselves. But that doesn't take away the fact that they're probably the worst gaming company on the planet. And I will not shed a tear if this company goes away. The only thing that will make me sad is the millions of developers that are there that will lose their jobs if this happens, and also the intellectual property that's there that other people worked really hard to create to come out and innovate the way they wanted it to be. I hope that things can turn around, but I honestly don't see hope in that happening. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think of the practices that Ubisoft has been doing recently? And remember, you're pretty good.